no excuse.
Now at 11, more demands for answers and action at the first school board meeting since the arrest of a Central Indiana teacher.
They're important not just because they're sensational, but because the community is telling us that it's important.
And IMPD's new chief explains why police are taking extra measures to solve 2 recent crimes that shocked the community.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Good evening at 11 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starantino. We'll get to those top stories in a moment.
But first, we start with the Storm Team 6 forecast. And as you can see from this live look at our INDOT traffic cameras, the weather outside is not frightful at this hour, but snow is headed our way. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is working for you, helping you prepare.
And no reason to set the alarm clock early. It will not be a messy morning. We're dry to start the day. It's probably after 1 o'clock that from the south, rain and snow will be lifting into central Indiana. It stays all snow to the north. Here's the advisory in effect 1 o'clock tomorrow to 1 o'clock Thursday. 5-inch amounts seem to be most likely well to the north of Indy, less as you come down to the metro area. 28 cloudy first thing in the morning as kids are getting off the bus in the afternoon. Snow, rain mix with temperatures in the mid-30s. 10 a.m. still cloudy. You begin to see the nose of the snow just south of Bloomington. Then by the time we get to 4 o'clock, you see the rain snow line right through the metro area with snow just to the north and rain to the south. That rain continues to drift to the north. We'll talk about what that may mean coming up.
You have failed this victim. How dare you?
Tense moments at tonight's Northwest Hendricks County School Board meeting, the first meeting since TriWest teacher and coach Tyler Bruce was arrested, charged with child seduction and obstruction of justice. People have been calling for Bruce to be fired, and Call 6 Investigates has been following this story since the allegations of inappropriate behavior with the student came to light last summer. RTV6's Cornelius Hawker explains why the school says they could not fire him and how the community is reacting to their reasoning.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
School officials sat quietly as community members lashed out at them and the months-long push for answers about Tyler Bruce's future with their district.
You did not act in the best interest of the school district. You acted in the best interest of your family and friends. How did that work out?
Pretty ironic that there's a thing up there that says building a legacy, one Bruin at a time. You guys are building a legacy, all right.
For 7 months, Tyler Bruce was on paid administrative leave, and during that time, RTV6 did more than a dozen stories about this situation, talking to the mother of the alleged victim and trying to get some sort of response from the board about all of this.
I have to respond.
Do you think it was appropriate to vote on a matter involving your nephew?
At Tuesday night's meeting, the board put out a statement saying Indiana law is why they couldn't fire Bruce immediately. One person who spoke at the meeting agreed with their reasoning.
I'm here just to express my support for the school board. I do not believe any of us thought this legal process in the Tyler Bruce case would take as long as it has.
Now that Bruce has been arrested and charged,
that was the legal trigger for us to say we can terminate him, and we will move forward with that termination.
The board spokesperson says she understands the frustration behind this slow process, but again, points to the law as to why they were so cautious about saying anything. I asked if members of the community will ever get a chance to have an actual conversation with the Board of Trustees, and she said this.
At some point, I would anticipate that yes, there will be a conversation, but right now is not the time.
But people like Tiffany Matthews say their minds are already made up.
I think at this point, none of us want to talk to him. We want him gone. They just need to resign. There's no rebuilding any trust with any of them.
Working for you in Hendricks County, Cornelius Hawker, RTV6.
And since Tyler Bruce has been arrested and charged, he's now on unpaid leave. But the district says he has chosen to exercise his due process rights and requested a meeting with the superintendent. To watch the full meeting and read all of our stories about this situation, go to theindychannel.com.
Only on RTV6, an investigation into health concerns at a Decatur Township school starts tomorrow. Staff members at the Blue and Gold Academies off of Man Road will be interviewed. The school is home to 147 staffers and almost 1,400 students. RTV6 has learned teachers have reported head-related tumors. 4 cases prompted the district to hire an environmental company to investigate before starting any testing. The superintendent says handling and resolving the issue is a top priority.
And the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department is working overtime to bring in answers about 2 disturbing shootings that left 5 people dead on the northeast side. Chief Randall Taylor says the extra work is necessary after hearing from the community and the family members of a subway employee killed while at work and 4 young people killed at an apartment complex. RTV6 reporter Cameron Riddle spoke with Chief Taylor about this new effort.
At a time when city and community leaders are being told they aren't doing enough to solve the city's rise in crime, Indianapolis Police Chief Randall Taylor is taking action to get answers.
We're hoping that the community will give us something. We really need some help in this area on these cases, and we need to make some stuff happen.
Taylor has launched a special homicide tip line where anyone who knows something can say something and directly speak to detectives who, for the next 48 hours, will be standing by live to answer phones, which does not always happen when you dial the IMPD detective or Crime Stoppers number. Chief Taylor is even staying late and taking some of those calls himself, even if the extra effort can't guarantee a result.
You know, I'm not sure how big of an impact it'll have, but I'm just trying to do anything that I can to generate some responses. Our detectives do great work and they work these things hard, but they need some help with this, and I want to try to give them that.
Taylor says the shootings that left 5 families planning funerals are senseless. Now he's asking the community to give those families closure and get the killers off the streets. He says every piece of information is valuable.
Even if they don't think the information they have is important, share it with us, let us look at it and vet it out and see if it's important or not. But we need to generate some stuff. There's bad people out there.
From now through Thursday afternoon, IMPD detectives will be waiting to take your calls at 317-327-3475. If you wish to remain anonymous, Crime Stoppers will also have someone standing by at 317-262-TIPS.
I'm really appealing to those who, you know, saw it personally or know information about it. Please come forward and share that information with us.
Working for you in Indianapolis, Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
And right now at the IndyChannel.com, you can find that phone number IMPD has opened up for tips. You can also read all the details investigators have released about both cases.
Police, elected officials, and community leaders have all talked about ways to prevent violence after last week's quadruple homicide. Working for you, RTV6 went to the area of the city where that crime happened to give people who live there a voice.
People downtown want to give you what they think you need instead of asking you what you really need. We need more resources. You need to meet the people on their level, not at your level.
There has been a crisis because there are no high schools, there's no grocery store, we don't have banking institutions. There's a poverty crisis for sure, and poverty results in other things.
We talked to those women at the Community Alliance of the Far East Side Center. Sharia Caldwell, the director of community engagement, says more funding is needed for programs. The center offers services like employment coaching, behavioral health counseling, leadership development camp, and much more.
Metro Police want to know if you recognize this man. He is accused of robbing a store clerk at gunpoint. It happened Thursday, January 30th at the Mars Hill Market on Troy Avenue near Holton, Kentucky on the southwest side. Investigators say the suspect was wearing a Toronto Raptors hat and carrying a black backpack.
An ordinance aimed at better protections for pets in Carmel will be introduced next Monday. In the fall, Hamilton County commissioners overhauled the animal cruelty ordinance to define things like adequate shelter and medical care. But that only applies to county-incorporated areas, not cities. Well, Councilor Adam Alston is behind the new similar proposal in Carmel.
The whole point of this ordinance is we just want to make sure that everyone in Carmel is happy, healthy, and safe, and that really does apply to everyone, including pets, our furry friends.
The ordinance would also prohibit pet stores from selling dogs obtained from puppy mills or backyard breeders.
The driver accused of causing this deadly crash in Avon is scheduled to go on trial on March 18th. Tonight, he is facing a lawsuit.
I woke up with a man holding my hand, and he said, "You have a lot of angels around you because you shouldn't be here."
So Ann Bodine is paralyzed from the waist down after a dump truck crashed into her SUV on Rockville Road in September. The 11-vehicle pileup killed a couple from Danville. So Ann is suing the driver and the Zionsville-based trucking company, North American Environmental Services. Court records show Danny Williams was behind the wheel of the dump truck. He told police he'd been snorting heroin. So Ann now relies on around-the-clock nursing care, and her medical bills are mounting.
In just moments, my life was in a shambles. My hopes and dreams for the future are gone, at least at this moment. I can't drive. I can't work. There's a lot of medical problems that I never would have anticipated.
The lawsuit alleges the dump truck was underinsured and the company negligently hired and supervised Williams, and that Williams failed to operate his commercial motor vehicle with reasonable care. As Call 6 Investigates reported, Williams had at least 25 violations on his driving record, and in 2015, the state suspended his CDL for a year after Williams was convicted of driving while intoxicated. We reached out to Williams and the trucking company for a response. So far, we have not received any statements.
Coming up here on RTV6, Lawrence police say there is key evidence that could answer many questions as they investigate exactly what happened before an officer shot a shoplifting suspect.
And the New Hampshire primary claims 2 Democratic presidential hopefuls. Where the polls stand at this hour and the candidate calling it quits. You're watching RTV6 News at 11.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
New at 11, video evidence could shed light on what led up to a police shooting in Lawrence. Tonight, the department gave an update saying the officers involved were wearing body cameras and the squad cars have cameras. Police say an officer shot a man suspected of shoplifting from a clothing store around 2:30 this afternoon on East 56th Street at the I-465 interchange. It happened after a chase involving 2 suspects. Assistant Police Chief Gary Woodruff says officers were not shot at by the suspects, and he was not sure if either was armed. He describes what led up to the shooting as a confrontation.
The dynamics of that confrontation, I don't have the specific detail of. It's very much under active investigation right now. But there was some type of a confrontation that occurred, resulting in at least 1 shot, if not more than 1 shot fired by a Lawrence police officer.
The man who was shot is in critical condition. Police arrested the second suspect. Investigators say they both had outstanding warrants, 1 for cocaine possession and 1 for probation violation.
ABC News is projecting Bernie Sanders has won the New Hampshire Democratic primary based on the results that have come in so far. But it's been a tight race, and 2 candidates, Andrew Yang and Colorado Senator Michael Bennet, have dropped out of the race. ABC's Mona Kassar Abdi has the latest.
Moments after polls closed in the nation's first primary, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders quickly rising to the top spot. Sanders easily won the state's 2016 primary, and going into the competition had confidence he'd repeat his success 4 years later.
We are going to beat Donald Trump.
Former Mayor Pete Buttigieg, feeling the boost from his top showing in Iowa, found himself neck and neck with Senator Amy Klobuchar. Klobuchar, a late riser, gained momentum in recent days with moderate voters.
We have beaten the odds every step of the way.
Over the weekend, her campaign drawing its largest crowd in the Granite State and bringing in millions in donations. The night, however, not unfolding as Elizabeth Warren had hoped. The Massachusetts senator taking the stage at her election night party to congratulate her competitors.
Senator Sanders and Mayor Buttigieg had strong nights. And I also want to congratulate my friend and colleague, Amy Klobuchar, for showing just how wrong the pundits can be when they count a woman out.
But Warren making it clear this was not a concession speech and that her campaign is in it for the long haul. Former Vice President Joe Biden having already left the state for South Carolina with a similar showing in New Hampshire.
And exit polls show almost half the voters didn't make a decision until the last minute, and more than 60% picked a candidate who they believe can beat President Trump. Mona Kassar Abdi, ABC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Now to the southwest part of the country where snow has been an issue all day. This is Rio Rancho, New Mexico, where a winter storm warning is in effect. Look at that.
3 to 6 inches for them. Higher elevation, 6 to 12.
What are we looking at?
We just have one elevation.
Oh, right.
You know,
yeah, that's true. It's
pretty flat here.
Yeah.
2 to 5 inches, and I'd say the 2 is closer to the metro area, the 5 to the north. Let me show you why that thinking is the line right now. 29 in Crawfordsville. Temperatures 32 in Indy. Again, cloud cover around. No need to set your alarm early. Just a cloudy start during the day tomorrow. Temperatures, they'll be close to the upper 30s tomorrow before the rain and snow. But look what happens Friday. That's when our temperatures really bottom out. A quick, significant shot of Arctic air, but it doesn't last at all. Temperatures bounce back over the weekend. Okay, the areas that see mainly snow from start to finish are going to be in the northern third of the state. That's where you have the best chance for more accumulating snow. Central Indiana, including Indianapolis, in play where the rain-snow line should reach Indy and drift a little to the north. That will cut down on snowfall potential, and then it's mainly rain as you go south of Indianapolis. That's aside from a burst of snow at the beginning of this. You can see from around 2 o'clock in the afternoon through 10 o'clock tomorrow night, that's when the bulk of the moisture will arrive to be converted into snow and rain. Could see a wintry mix in spots as well. Temperatures likely to stay above freezing for the bulk of those hours. 29 in the morning, lunchtime still dry at 35. There are your temperatures with the snow changing to mixing with rain, all above freezing. 10 o'clock, not much happening. 1 o'clock still south of the Terre Haute to Seymour line. By the time we get to 4, remember Sunday when you had that burst of heavy wet snow, limited visibility, put a quick cover on the roadway. We may see that kind of intensity there. This model has been lifting the rain-snow line north, meaning more rain in the metro area. Continues to the north through 11, but the colder air will catch the departing moisture. So I think we've got a commute on Thursday morning that could be tricky with snow showers around. Temperatures, middle to upper 30s, falling by Wednesday evening into the low to mid 30s. And as we go to the morning hours, you'll begin to see that colder air off to the northwest. Storm Shield app is free. It's a weather radio for your phone. It's a good way to keep track of the radar and any changing weather conditions. Todd will have the latest for you at 4:30 in the morning. Those snow showers, falling temperatures Thursday, 6 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. 20 for the high on Valentine's Day. But we're back in the 50s early next week.
Got a little college shoot for you, Kevin. Good evening to you. Another glaring example of just how wacky this season has been. Saturday, Purdue goes into Bloomington, takes it right to the Hoosiers. Just 3 days later, how about an about face at home, hosting 13th ranked Penn State, one of the hottest teams in the country right now. Mackey, they were ready. Shades of Saturday as well. Purdue inside, Trevion Williams, team high 17. But Penn State getting 21 assists on 28 field goals. Lamar Stevens in the middle of a 13-2 run to start the second half. He led by as many as 19. Mike Watkins then with 19 and 10 off the bench. Penn State, a big road win for those guys, 88-76. Purdue falls to 7-7 now in the Big Ten. Big game tomorrow night for the Pacers. 7:30 tip against the East leading Milwaukee Bucks. Good guys trying to avoid a 7-game losing streak. At 6 tonight, Victor Oladipo on that and more. Vic on 6. Up now on the RTV6 app. An important week in IndyCar, their annual spring training test at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. But look at the conditions there. Wet, 45 degrees, only at some installation laps, nothing at speed, so they'll try again tomorrow. This was interesting, though. NASCAR's Jimmy Johnson was a guest of the Arrow McLaren SP team. Could we see him on some street and road races after he retires from NASCAR at the end of the year?
You know, IndyCar has been something that I grew up as a kid dreaming to race. Growing up in Southern California, I can tell you how many times I attended the Long Beach Grand Prix, was just in and around. A lot of my heroes like Rick Mears came from off-road racing such as I, and it went into IndyCar. So it's always been on my radar. My path took me to NASCAR. I have no clue what 21 holds for me, but I'm open and we'll see where the year goes and what develops. And, you know, if there was the right opportunity, I'd certainly consider it.
How cool would that be? And what about the next generation? Well, news today out of Speedway, where Sarah Fisher's development team is launching a US F4 race team with an eye on helping 12-year-old Elliott Cox. He'll be doing some touring series races at the end of the year. It's a road to IndyCar for those just getting out of karting.
So it's economically feasible for these guys to compete, you know, in the very low six-figure range versus, you know, the multi-million-dollar budgets that we're used to of IndyCar racing. It gives these kids a ladder to get to right after the step of go-karts.
IndyCar try the test again tomorrow at Austin. Weather looks much better. There.
Then
not here.
We'll be right back.
Right back.
Just $6.99. See you at Denny's.
Hiring Hoosiers is connecting you to career opportunities that you may have never considered. That was Michael McCannick's situation. She spent 8 to 9 hours a day in front of a computer at her desk job before deciding she wanted a change. Shortly after that, she met the founder of Any Nanny Concierge.
I was definitely nervous, but Morgan kind of walked me through it, and we did in-house nanny training, in-home nanny training, which was amazing. And then also we have this binder that I refer to every single day. So I knew how to obviously take care of kids, but she definitely gave me the confidence that I could go above and beyond and be more of a caretaker than just a babysitter.
For more information about jobs with Indy Nanny Concierge, go to hiringhoosiers.com.
Leadership skills are important in the workplace, even if you do not have an official management title. The annual Women in Leadership Workshop is this Friday in Franklin. I spoke to organizers about the importance of sharpening those skills, especially for women. I think what caught my eye with this workshop was it's titled with Resilient Women. Yes. Tell us a little bit about what this workshop is all about.
Well, this is the 4th year that we've done a day-long leadership workshop specifically for women. And what we try to do is look at those issues that, sure, they face everyone, but we're really trying to find ways that we can empower women to really make all that they can be brought to the forefront. And so with resilience, we know that through all the positive psychology work, you've got to be able to bounce back. And it turns out that's not innate. It's actually a skill.
Yes.
And so we have speakers coming in from a variety of different places to talk to us about how to develop the skill of resiliency.
And who should be looking at attending this workshop? Is it people looking for a job, or is it people within a good job that they already like?
Actually, both.
Okay.
And maybe even those folks who are feeling a little insecure about their job. They may be the ones we can help the most.
What are some of the skills that we can learn from this?
So what we're trying to do is get people into the mindset that says, if something goes wrong, I can work through it. I can get over it. I can bounce back from it. Particularly women tend to beat themselves up for their mistakes. We're really good at it. And so if we can back away from that and allow women to take it as a learning opportunity and then move on, we're going to be doing something really good for not only the way people feel internally, but what they can bring to work.
Why is it so important for Hoosier women to attend?
I think Hoosier women in particular have a couple of things going on. The first is we're nice in a very real way, and that's lovely, but I think it also sometimes means that we don't step up and talk about our accomplishments as well as we should, and we do tend to play it up when things go wrong, almost as a way of bonding. That's a Midwest thing, I think.
Hoosier hospitality.
Absolutely. And we don't want to say we're better than anybody else. And I think one of the things that this workshop does is it allows us to say, you know what, there's a community of women, all of whom are going through the same things, and it teaches us how to lift each other up. So if we can spot somebody else who isn't in their best resilient place, then we can step in and be a tribe and help them. And that's what excites me the most about this. I think it's really exciting.
For more info about the workshop, go to hiringhoosiers.com. We'll be right back.
We start the day uneventfully. Dry, cloudy, temperatures around 29. 36 by lunch. In the afternoon, a burst of snow, then mixing with and changing to rain. Southern half of the state stays snow north of Indy.
And Todd's back with you at 4:30 on Good Morning Indiana.
Have a good night.